Hello, it's a lovely good evening today, the 21st of November 2021. To present Camnet TV main news, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: MUSENGE is new NDC president. HH describes the death of KABWATA MP as difficult to understand. Government urged to suspend the issuance of licenses to foreign blockmaking companies in Zambia. In international news, Somalia prominent journalist killed in Mogadishu suicide bombing. And in sports news, FIFA World Cup QATAR 2022 preparation to host Football World Cup intensify.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Hello once again, another news in detail. The Blockmakers Association of Zambia has called on the government to suspend the issuance of licenses to foreign investors intending to establish blockmaking companies in Zambia. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Association President Elias Piri says the influx of foreigners in the industry has killed many small blockmaking businesses, which has been their source of income. Mr. Piri says government should instead empower local blockmakers with the right equipment so as to improve on the quality to meet the required standards. We have more in the following report.
The blockmaking business has been booming in Zambia owing to the fact that Zambia is a developing country and new infrastructure is taking shape. This has seen the blockmaking business, which was mostly dominated by the local Zambians, now being taken over by foreign investors who have come with improved machinery which allows them to produce blocks and pavers in large quantities compared to the local people. The influx of foreigners in the business has seen local block makers being kicked out of the business, which to others has been their own sources of income. The Block Makers Association of Zambia is now calling on the new government through the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise to consider suspending the issuance of licenses to new foreign investors in the sector, but instead empower the local people with the right equipment so that the business can be reserved for the local Zambians, which will help create employment.
Foreigners that were left to come and do the same business that Zambians are doing, they're depriving our people. You know, these foreigners are depriving our people. This is a very big challenge, and we need a policy change, a policy shift, a policy that will have regulations, policies that will be strict policies for Zambians. This business was started by Zambians, and it has been taken over by the foreigners, and the leaders are just looking, and the economy is going down day.
Mr. Piri adds that there is no technology or complicated process involved in the making of blocks, but only a mixture of sand and cement, which can be done by the local people and does not require any foreign investor.
It's a simple business. You only get cement, sand, and water. What technology do you require? There's no technology that is required. You know, no technology at all. Let them do their businesses in their own countries, which requires so much technology. And if they need to come and invest in this nation, they should bring large businesses that Zambians can't do. Not depriving Zambians, taking away businesses from Zambians, no.
Block 1,000. Iyo 1,000 kuti isile kugulisiwa bane is asile almost 2 months. Nikagulisako 50 kwacha, ayali 50. Nitenge 100 kwacha nije pa nyumba. Nitenge 100 kwacha nipeleke ku school ya mwana. Yasira.
But Minister of Small and Medium Enterprise Elias Mubanga had not yet responded to the call by broadcast time. For now, we will wait to see how the government will ensure local businesses are reserved for the local people, as was their campaign message. Prudence Tota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Business owners in Lusaka's Kanyama News Site and Service area have allegedly lost hundreds of kwachas after their perishable goods have gone bad following a 3-day power loss to the area. In an interview, the business owners state that strong winds, which preceded the downfall of rain in the area on Thursday, left the electricity cables intertwined, causing a power loss in the area. They state that no help has come through yet, despite various calls to the power utility company, ZESCO. More in the following report.
These blown-off roofing sheets and damage to this building are just another negative effect of strong winds and heavy downfall of rain the country has been experiencing. This is Kanyama, new site and service in Lusaka, where apart from causing damage to buildings, the strong wind and rain have left electricity cables intertwined, causing a blackout in the area. Residents here have told Camnet News that this is now day 3 since the blackout and that no help has come through, despite them reporting the matter to the power utility company, ZESCO.
Malata yanachoka paja. Kwenda kugira po pamamba na ntambo za kumiana. So 3 days now malaiti sikumankala kuno. Wazesiko tutakatuma phone bakamba church tizabwera but still sibabwera. So this is our problem we have here in Kanyama. Most of the time we do have challenges like this. So even outside my shop side panja mansomba manyama ya moola bambotenga manyama kwambopeleka kuli malaiti. So please we need an urgent basi batutandize ku malaiti kuti tikaleko na malaiti and then ntambo bazikonzeko ntambo nizogwirana even like now nizogwirana
kuna bwa chimpepo shikulu chinanyamula malata kumenya pamtenje kumenya kuntambo za malaiti. So pa chinabwira chimpepo chenzi na power maningi malaiti kuna bwa kwa gaspaki wazesiko problem etidanda lako ni mozi kubura chimpepo kampepo cheka ngono ka mistake kangono pesa malaiti yaenda. So apatinga na affect ya makodrums banana siku pia mushe ifu what meaning tipanga chabe malosi. So wazesiko wangaleko serious na vewa chita tupetinga pembeko kwa agent alliance amnanga kwanisire kutitaniza kufali malaiti ndio atidanda tumapeleka ku wazesiko kulibeta mnewa chitabu.
Those with businesses state that this has negatively affected them as they have had to throw away their perishable goods, leaving their fridges now empty. They have expressed concern over the response rate by the power utility company and have called for quick action to situation.
Kuna bora tipepo jinajua maachani ntambo za malaiti. Manja pa kwa pita 3 days no malaiti mandia naonongeka vonse inamba vononge kama azesiko wale dokonzes kwa malaiti.
So business ili branch kwa tu munsomba yanyu endesha tabwanja nongekana
naonongeka hapa tunatayana kutaya 3 days ni kula ndio yose tunachosama tunataya.
In a recent appearance on Camnet TV, ZESCO Senior Corporate Affairs Manager Dr. John Kunda indicated that the company will work towards improving its response rate to electricity reports. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Chief Chanje of Chipangali District in Eastern Province has urged government to seriously deal with agricultural officers who steal fertilizer from poor farmers in the district. The traditional leader says he has received complaints from many cooperatives from Mbenjele and Sisinje areas in Chief Chukua's area that farmers are being told that they have no urea fertilizer. Chief Chanje says a non-camp officer from Mtambalala camp in Chief Chinunda with others are behind bars over the theft of 160 bags of fertilizer and that more officers should be involved in the scam.
Last week, nachita issue statement yodandaula kuti ma cooperatives akusisinje akumbenjere analudandaula kuti wauza kuti fertilizer kushedi kuja kwa mgubutu kuno kwathu kuchipangali kulibe so akaoneko next week pomwe maofficers walikuba omwe afunika kuthandiza bantu kuno kudera kwawo anapita kukosi ndipo alulandira abantu. So tingofuna upempha boma kuti chilungamo chioneke pa maofficers awobera abantu balime chifukwa boma ilipereka fertilizer yokuti bantu bathandizike kuti mwina ziko isakhale pa mphawi yayi. Chilungamo wa boma tufuna chioneke kuti mwina maofficers wotere arubweza chituku kwa kumbuyo.
United Party for National Development Media Director Tawa Kawana has charged that the appointment of the NDC president as permanent secretary is welcome, adding that Mr. Akafumba is well vested with knowledge to run the affairs of this country in that capacity. Mr. Akafumba was appointed as PS in the Ministry of Home Affairs in charge of Internal Affairs, who has since resigned as party head for the opposition NDC. Meanwhile, Mr. Kawana has rubbished claims by the opposition that the appointments at PS level are tribal. He says the opposition parties should instead offer proper checks and balances.
So Mr. Akafumba is no longer the president of the NDC, and it goes without saying that when you are a politician and you are appointed into civil service, you cease wearing your political jacket. You cease wearing your political face, because now you begin to serve the people of Zambia, regardless of political affiliation, regardless of religious, regardless of creed. You serve the people of Zambia as a servant of the people. Mr. Akafumba, we want to add, is not the first time that he's been appointed permanent secretary. You are aware that Mr. Akafumba has been permanent secretary in this country before. He was permanent secretary at the Ministry of Justice not too long ago. And he is a practicing lawyer. So we know that he takes to his new ministry a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge, and as a practicing lawyer, you know that one of the things you do as a PS when you take on your position is to read the various acts that govern your ministry. We don't understand the opposition in this country. We are tired of waiting. When are they going to start providing checks and balances? Because these are not checks and balances. This is mere, if we are to use the youth language, it's just player hating, or sour grapes if you like. But basically there's nothing they're talking about. How can they talk about the appointments being tribal, and that the president has appointed his kingsmen, that he has basically appointed his tribesmen as PSs? How? That is because the opposition is putting on lenses which are tribal lenses, and therefore they can't see anything else apart from seeing tribalism or tribal practice, even where there's none. Surely if you look at it, PS Bernard Mpumu, is he from Monze? According to the opposition in this country, is he Tonga from Monze? PS Bernard Mpumu. For example, State House appointee Joseph Lungu, maybe they are saying he's from Magoe. Is a Tonga from Magoe, Mr. Joseph Lungu. Are they telling us that Kangwachire, the PS at the Ministry of Sport, is actually a Tonga from Choma?
Meanwhile, the opposition and National Democratic Party has appointed former Party Secretary General MWENYA as president. Presidential spokesperson George Sichula says the appointment of the NDC President Joseph Akafumba as Permanent Secretary Administration under the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security has necessitated the appointment. Meanwhile, Professor Atanga has been appointed as his NDC Vice President, who before his appointment was NDC Chairperson in charge of higher education. Meanwhile, the NDC has announced that the party will not field in a presidential candidate in the 2026 general election, adding that they will still support the candidature of Hakainde Hichilema under the UPND alliance.
The Civil Service Code of Ethics prohibits civil servants from active politics and vice versa. In this case, Joseph Akafumba, the former National Democratic Party president, who was until his appointment as permanent secretary under the Ministry of Home Affairs, was in full charge of his party. This created a gap in the NDC, which has quickly been filled by their former Secretary General, MUSENGE. Presidential spokesperson George Sichula announced this development Sunday after the UPND alliance met to decide the fate of the party.
He has found it fit to elevate the Secretary General, the current Secretary General, who happens to be Honorable MWENYA Laban Musenge, as our new president for the party. So to clear the speculations, Mr. Akafumba is no longer a president of the party. He's a civil servant now and a permanent secretary for Home Affairs Administration. So our new president is Honorable MWENYA Laban Musenge as from today going forward. There is also another change. Our new vice president is Professor Muyenga Atanga. He used to be chairman for education as member of MCC. So our vice president is Professor Muyenga Atanga.
Meanwhile, the NDC has hinted that it will not float in a presidential candidate in the 2026 general elections, but support the candidature of the alliance president, Hakainde Hichilema.
We have a leader in the name of President Hakainde Hichilema who is leading the UPND alliance. And all of us do understand that he's got 2 terms in the office, which as NDC, together with a new president, will be able to promote at all cost. Even come 2026, we are not fielding in a president as NDC. We shall still be able to support the candidature of President Hakainde Hichilema so that the country can benefit from his good leadership. So the president that is coming to support the UPND alliance and all the agreements that have been agreed upon.
The bone of contention about the appointments of Joseph Akafumba, Kangwa Chileshe and Milna Mwanakapwe still remains subject of debate, in that the trio were still active politicians until their appointments, when in fact they were supposed to resign before being appointed. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has directed law enforcement agencies to investigate the death of United Party for National Development UPND KABWATA constituency member of parliament Levi Mkandawire. Mr. Mkandawire died at the gate of his house on the 18th of November 2021 after being hit by a speeding vehicle as he attempted to open the gate to his home. The president says the circumstances under which Mr. Mkandawire died are very difficult to understand, more especially that he was at his residence. President Hichilema has, however, described Mr. Mkandawire as a loyal member of the party who was consistent and passionate to see change.
It's a rare situation. I'm not really sure how to describe this. Mr. Colleague, he's a loyal member of our party. When it was not fashionable to join UPND, Mkandawire went out to join UPND, and was consistent. He wasn't an opportunist. A lot of people they check that you're winning when they're possible. He hung on to this party, supported this party. A long-standing member for a long time in the ANC, National Security. So it's really tragic that he has to go in this manner. I did say inside there that we expect that the law enforcement will do its job. We not issue instructions to them because that's not our way of running the country, but we only expect them to do their job. I'm sure they should.
Meanwhile, police in Lusaka say they have taken keen interest and intensified investigations in the fatal road traffic accident which claimed the life of KABWATA constituency member of parliament Levi Mkandawire. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says the police have in custody Jane Mwale, the driver of the car that killed Mr. Mkandawire, and Jetta Alik Kalengo, a passenger in the same car. Mr. Hamonga says the public will be informed of the next course of action when investigations are concluded.
Have taken keen interest and intensified investigations of the fatal road traffic accident involving the late Honorable Levi Mkandawire, Member of Parliament for KABWATA constituency, which occurred on the 18th of November 2021 at around 12:45 hours. The police has in custody female Jane Mwale and male Kalengo Jetta Alik. The public will be informed of the next course of action.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here
Global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow! Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
This is the Rusitu Irrigation Project. It's a government project funded by the World Bank through IDSP.
The project involved laying over 18 kilometers worth of interlinked water pipes that will supply water to the 280 hectares land for small-scale and commercial farmers in Rusitu of Chirundu district. We worked on 35 kilometers of the road network and also constructed 159 concrete water hydrants of different sizes in all 3 tiers. The state-of-the-art water pumping station at the banks of the Zambezi is fitted with 9 water pumps, a dedicated concrete reservoir, a 500 kV automated standby generator, a fully automated pump switching system that is interlinked with a second reservoir of 27,000 cubic liters capacity, which is fitted with 7 water pumps, a standby generator, and floater tanks for that extra water pressure on the irrigation lines. Savenda Construction is grateful to the Zambian government and the World Bank for giving us the opportunity to be part of the history of Rusitu, as the project will benefit over 282 households once completed, and is just one of the many that Savenda Construction has embarked on, owing to its track record and capacity to deliver as per requirement. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
On Monday, 22nd November 2021, on National Matters, join Dr. Lubinda Hawazoka as the host, Honorable Garin Kombo, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Make sure kuti vamene vabwera kumulipirisani ni vakukanso. Ndiye chambe chamene nfuna kuti tichenjezani hapo. Vamene vabwera kulipirisa vaonekera unkala na receipt, genuine receipt ya kukanso.
At exactly 20:45 hours, as they discuss the new dawn, economic decentralization, and the rule of law.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. This is Camnet TV, not just another channel. Minister of Technology and Science Felix Mutati has called on citizens not to shy away from engaging the Ministry of New Innovations, stating that the new ministry, not to engage the Ministry of New Innovations, rather, stating that the new ministry is seeking local creations to solve local problems. In an interview with Mr. Mutati, Mr. Mutati says the Ministry of Technology and Science will not shun any innovations, but will instead seek to find ways of how these can be improved so as to benefit the country. He adds that the ministry will ensure that local innovators are equipped with necessary skills and mentorship to ensure that their innovations become useful to society. More in this report.
In today's developing world, science and technology plays a major role, as most countries which have seen massive development have invested in technological innovations. Minister of Technology and Science, Mr. Felix Mutati, has called on Zambians to step up to the task and begin looking for new technological innovations which will benefit the country. Science and technology helps in reducing the cost of production, improving the quality of life, and achieving real economic and social development, as well as job creation. In this vein, Mr. Mutati says the ministry is keen in identifying people whose innovations can further be improved.
Only 2 weeks ago, we brought together innovators, 45 of them,
in Lusaka and said, you have created this innovation. What are the challenges that are holding you back to realize and to create market value to this? So what we're doing with the 45 is, one, we're going to put them into what we're going business acceleration program, where they'll be taught business skills, where they'll be taught on how to manage themselves. In addition to that, we are also going to link them with lenders that want to take a chance on the innovators.
He has also called on those with ideas of new innovations, no matter how small, not to shun away from engaging the ministry, as this could become major innovations in the near future.
You have just made reference to a young man in China who has made a prototype, a plane. And then the question is, what happens next? There are many, like the boy in China, who have actually used their intellect, their critical thinking, to make prototypes. So the young man from China, the first step that he needs to make is for you who met with him to bring him to the ministry. And then we'll be able to tell him how he walks his journey to be able to support. The challenge normally is not only money. There are many other challenges that we need to deal with and to bridge, even educating them. So we need to understand the whole ecosystem surrounding innovation so that we can derive a potent solution that creates value for the innovator.
In a few years' time, Zambia hopes to become a technological hub in Africa, offering both technological solutions and mentorship. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Garen Kombo, has directed local authorities across the country to include persons with disabilities in the ongoing formation of ward development committees. The minister has further tasked local authorities to prioritize offering of employment opportunities to any qualified person with a disability in various departments. Mr. Kombo says he desires to see local authorities enhance community participation through formation of inclusive ward committees, which should not segregate in membership. The minister was speaking when a delegation from Zambia Federation of Disability Organization ZAFOD, led by the Federation Director Justin Bakali, paid a courtesy call on him at the ministry. And in response, Mr. Bakali has bemoaned low recruitment levels of persons with disabilities, but with skilled qualifications in councils. Zambia National Education Coalition ZANEC chairperson Henry Kawe has called for standardization in the quality of education both at urban and rural level. In an interview, Mr. Kawe says the first step to achieving this is to build teachers in rural areas decent houses in order to motivate them and ensure that the overall quality of education matches that of the urban setup. He adds that there is need to heed the President's call for an overall improvement of the education sector, as it is a tool for national development.
So education is key to the development of any country. Our 7th National Development Plan, which is under the theme Leaving No One Behind, acknowledges the fact that education is a key strategy under the Human Development Pillar for national development. So as an organization, we believe that quality education should ensure that fellow citizens are self-sustaining and effectively contribute to national development, because that is the foundation for the development of any country. The President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has emphasized having competent citizens, productive citizens, and the reduction in the importation of skills from other countries. Because we need the local Zambians to be able to build our roads, we need the local Zambians to be able to involve themselves in massive infrastructure development. And that can only happen if we lay a strong foundation, and also working on the curriculum to ensure that it does not just promote the passing of exams or just sheer knowledge of who somebody's mother was, but critical thinking, a curriculum that makes the learners to think and ensure that they bring out information and also assimilate information that is going to develop their skills and contribute to the development of our nation.
You're watching Camnet TV News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Infirmity never had a legal right in here anymore because she was healed in her soul. He also took care of that accusation in the court where he said, I loose you, and that means to acquit someone of a crime.
Why does he say, be strong and be courageous, Bamutale? Number one, you've got to be strong. You've got to be courageous when claiming the things that belong to you.
If you're up against principalities and powers,
en contra de
and Satan
principados,
is knocking you around,
y el enemigo te está dando contra ti,
put praise on in your car.
pon alabanza.
Put praise on.
So we must learn to depend on the Holy Spirit to tell us what these things are and what's the next thing and what the church ought to be doing rather than conform to everything that is going on.
He says you're blessed. He says flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father.
He will preach the gospel with great power and influence, I say, even to the nations of the earth. And I began to prophesy his destiny. As I did that, the Spirit of the Lord said, now rebuke the spirit of depression.
The mystery of your unfulfilled prophecy is found in what I'm saying today if you hear what the Spirit is saying, because the King is speaking.
That everything that God has given you will flourish because you have his mind like never before in Jesus' mighty precious name. On Monday, 22nd November 2021, on National Matters, join Dr. Lubinda Hawazoka as he hosts Honorable Garin Kombo, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Make sure kuti bamene babwera kumulipirisani ni bakukanso. Ndiye chambe chamene nfuna kuti tichenjezani hapo. Bamene babwera kulipirisa baonekera onkala na receipt, genuine receipt ya kukanso.
At exactly 20:45 hours, as they discuss the new dawn, economic decentralization, and the rule of law.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And in international news, prominent Somali journalist who was a staunch critic of jihadist group Al-Shabaab was killed by a suicide bomber as he left a restaurant in the capital Mogadishu Saturday, officials and colleagues said. Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the blast, which officials said killed Abdiaziz Mahmoud Guled, the director of government-owned radio Mogadishu. The attack wounded two other people, a director of Somali National Television named as Shamak Mohammed Wassam and a driver. In other news, a political agreement has been signed in Sudan enabling Abdallah Hamdok to be reinstated as Prime Minister. Sudan's top general Abdel Fattah al-Burhan signed the deal with Hamdok to restore the transition to civilian rule nearly a month after a military coup. The 14-point deal signed in the presidential palace in Khartoum also provides for the release of all political prisoners detained during the coup and stipulates that a 2019 constitutional declaration be the basis for a political transition, according to details read out on state TV. Here's a roundup of international news.
Of restoring
our country back on course. The most glorious moment following that of the independence was then when we came together, united in October 1964, April 1985, and December 2018. When I then accepted the designation as an interim prime minister, I realized that the road was not strewn with roses. It would be a daunting task, fraught by risks and dangers. However, by joining hands, we can all reach a peaceful shore. We can all prevent our country from plunging into the unknown. We should all come together to let the people decide who will take and hold the reins of power. And I pray finally that God will guide our steps forward to march forward until we reach a transparent, democratic election and peacefully and safely cross towards total civilian government and total democracy. Thank you to all behind this, namely Dr. Abdullah Hamdouk, who was not far from us. He has been close, he has been patient with us, and with him we have reached to this moment. Thank you to you all.
Ousting of Abdullah Hamdok as Prime Minister, just as I say, a few weeks ago. Prior to that, we heard from Abdullah Hamdok himself, who has been returned as Prime Minister of Sudan.
A prominent Somali journalist who was a staunch critic of jihadist group Al-Shabaab was killed on Saturday by a suicide bomber. Abdulaziz Mohammed Guled was struck as he left a restaurant in the capital, Mogadishu, Saturday evening. Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the blast, which officials said wounded 2 other people. As we were busy having dinner with other friends, the journalist drove his car out of the bar. We heard one big blast and all fell on the ground. When we came out of the bar, we saw that the car had been targeted by a suicide bomber. When I came out of the bar, I saw Abdulaziz and another man lying on the ground. Guled, also known as Abdulaziz Africa, was well known for his interviews with Al-Shabaab suspects detained by the Somali security forces, and his programs attracted large audiences inside and outside Somalia. 4 people were treated for gunshot wounds in Burkina Faso on Saturday after French and Burkinabe forces tried to deter protesters trying to block a French army convoy. Local sources in the town of Kaya, north of the capital, said demonstrators tried to approach French army personnel on the strip of wasteland where they had spent the night. A French soldier denied anybody had been wounded, rejecting any responsibility. France has to leave, together with its weapons. That's it. That's what we want. We don't need the French army. We're capable of attacking the jihadists. We don't need the French army. The French convoy, which has been held up for nearly a week by protests in the western city of Bobo Dioulasso and in the capital, Ouagadougou, is crossing through Burkina Faso on its way from Ivory Coast to Niger. French troops are in the wider.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, 1 year from now, the first World Cup to be held in the Middle East will kick off in Qatar. It won the bid to host the event more than a decade ago, and since then has been transformed in readiness for the tournament. Al Jazeera's Andy Robert Richardson reports from Al Khor, north of Doha, where it will all begin.
A stadium designed to reflect the nomadic culture of the region will soon be providing a home for football's most prized event. Qatar's Al Bayt Stadium will stage the first game of the 2022 World Cup. The man who's overseen every stage of its construction hopes it will make a lasting first impression.
The design of the stadium resembles the Bedouin tent Beit Shar, which is the welcome sign back in the days. This is where not just Qatari, the region people used to live in Beit Shar, and this is how you welcome your guest. It's a sign of Qatar is open, full door to everybody around the world to welcome them inside Qatar by welcoming them in Al Bayt Stadium in 2022.
60,000 fans will be inside this stadium for that opening match, and one team we know they'll be watching is Qatar, the host nation not just kicking off the Middle East's first World Cup. It will be the first ever time Qatar's national team has kicked a ball at the sport's biggest tournament.
More teams are getting ready to join Qatar at the World Cup. Each time a country qualifies, their national flag is raised at a ceremony held on the seafront of the capital, Doha.
I know that Argentines are thrilled to come here. They are planning their trip. They are now in social media posting about it. They are very happy that Messi will be here. All our good players will be here. And I think this is going to be a very great, extremely important World Cup.
More than 1 million supporters are expected to make the trip to Qatar for what will be the most compact World Cup in history. All 8 stadiums are within a metro ride or short drive of each other, meaning fans could go and watch more than one match a day.
What I'm looking forward to is that you feel there is a World Cup going on. Everybody's basically in Doha, so the Mexicans with the Dutch and the Germans with the Argentinas and whatever, the Qataris with the Swedish, for example. That connection that will make it so special.
Some finishing touches and a few more qualified teams, and now all that's needed before the Middle East's biggest sporting event can begin. Andy Richardson, Al Jazeera, Doha.
To end Camnet TV main news, we'll take a look at stories making headlines once again. MWENYA MUSENGE is new NDC president. HH describes the death of KABWATA MP as difficult to understand. Government urged to suspend the issuance of licenses to foreign block-making companies in Zambia. In international news, Somalia prominent journalist killed in Mogadishu suicide bombing. And in sports news, FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 preparation to host Football World Cup intensify. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from Psalms 96 verse 4-5. For great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. Thank you for watching Camnet TV. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.